Skattebo probably thought calling Shedeur Sanders broke would instantly go viral, but as I see it, he clearly didn't expect Tom Brady to step in. And when the GOAT started explaining what Shedeur is actually worth, the whole vibe changed. In my view, that's when the room really went quiet. You could tell this wasn't about jokes anymore. And honestly, what Brady said next is what really shifted the narrative.
Hey, why can't we get some balloons? Hey.
Because you didn't buy it, that's broke. You bought the turtle.
We didn't buy the turtle.
No, if you might have money, ask me.
We got...
So Shedeur Sanders and Skattebo showed up at a streamer event where they reportedly got $5,000 for decorations and food. It was supposed to be light and entertaining. But as I think about it, things took a turn nobody expected. Brady basically went off on Cam for trying to embarrass Shedeur on a live show. And in my opinion, it wasn't just random criticism. It felt like a serious reality check. The 7-time Super Bowl champion didn't sugarcoat anything and directly questioned Cam's credibility in front of a huge audience. To me, this wasn't just Brady defending a quarterback. It looked like a legend correcting a young player who crossed a line by disrespecting someone operating at a different level. What started as Cam calling Shedeur broke on live TV quickly turned into a tough moment for him once Brady responded with facts and numbers. And as I see it, that's where everything flipped. We've all seen trash talk in the NFL. It's normal. Competition gets intense, emotions rise, and sometimes players say things they probably shouldn't. But in my view, this didn't feel like normal banter. It felt more personal, more calculated, especially considering how much scrutiny Shedeur already faces as a young quarterback. When Brady heard about it, he didn't just casually react. As I think about it, he made sure people understood why that comment missed the mark. The setting was already buzzing. You had stars and rising names in the building, and the energy seemed competitive but friendly. Guys were laughing, throwing playful jabs, keeping it loose. It was the kind of space where you expect jokes about speed or contracts, nothing too serious. Then Cam shifted the tone. Out of nowhere, he looked at Shedeur and said, "You're broke." Not really smiling, not clearly joking. As I see it, the energy felt different right away. He even referenced Shedeur being on a 5th-round type contract, basically implying draft position equals low value. The message seemed obvious. You were picked later, so you're not on our level financially. You could see the reaction in the room. It didn't land like a joke. But what stood out to me was Shedeur's response. He didn't snap. He didn't argue. In my view, that calm look and slight smile said everything. It was almost like he knew something the other guy didn't. That expression felt like, you don't really know the full picture. And that's where Brady's response mattered. Because as I think about it, Cam didn't check the numbers. He didn't look at the business side of today's NFL. Brady addressed the draft argument first. He basically explained what most veterans already understand. Draft position doesn't define your long-term value anymore. The league has changed. The business side has evolved. Being drafted later doesn't automatically mean someone is broke. That idea feels outdated. Then Brady reportedly pointed to the real numbers. Jersey sales, market impact, endorsement power. In my view, that's the part that really dismantled the narrative. If a player is leading in merchandise and building major brand value, calling him broke just doesn't add up. Brady also mentioned Shedeur's endorsement portfolio, including reports of a massive $125 million deal that surprised the sports business world. As I see it, most rookies don't touch that kind of money in their entire careers. And that's why this whole situation felt less like trash talk and more like a lesson about understanding the modern NFL economy. And as I see it, the biggest shock wasn't just the size of the deal, it was the timing. Shedeur Sanders reportedly secured all of that before even taking a single NFL snap. Then in his first preseason appearance, a special clause in his Nike agreement was activated, which, in my view, completely changed the scale of everything. Just like that, the total value reportedly doubled to around $250 million over 4 years. When Tom Brady explained it, as I think about it, he sounded less emotional and more strategic. almost like he was breaking down a business case study. He highlighted how Shedeur negotiated a 50% cut from his jersey sales. 50%. That means every time someone buys his jersey, half the profit flows directly to him. In my opinion, that's not just income, that's structured, scalable revenue. Most players don't even ask for terms like that, let alone secure them. Then Brady reportedly brought up the Gatorade situation. Instead of simply accepting a $60 million offer over 3 years, Shedeur negotiated for 3% ownership in Gatorade USA. As I see it, that's a long-term mindset. Brady emphasized that equity can outweigh salary when you're thinking about generational wealth. 3% of a company generating billions annually isn't a small figure. In my view, that's positioning, not just payment. That's building assets instead of collecting checks. Brady made it clear that Shedeur isn't just focused on football, he's building a financial ecosystem. So when someone goes on a live show and calls him broke, as I think about it, it doesn't just sound wrong, it sounds uninformed. But Brady didn't stop at the money. He also spoke about the pressure Shedeur has dealt with since entering the league. The draft debates, the comparisons to his father, the constant criticism, all of it. And through that, Shedeur stayed composed. Brady even connected it back to his own story. He reminded people that draft position doesn't define long-term success. He was drafted 199th overall and still built one of the greatest careers in league history. So in his view, reducing a quarterback's value to draft order ignores how the position actually works. Quarterbacks are judged on performance, leadership, and long-term impact, not just where their name was called. Another point Brady reportedly made was about maturity. When that "you're broke" comment was said, Shedeur didn't escalate. He stayed calm. In my opinion, that composure matters. Brands invest in stability. Companies partner with athletes who protect their image. That kind of reaction builds value rather than damaging it. Brady also addressed the comparison angle. He pointed out that while Cam is talented, his off-field business portfolio doesn't match Shedeur's. Endorsements, jersey sales, market influence, the numbers reportedly aren't close. As I see it, that's why the comment didn't land the way it was intended. When you actually compare structures and revenue streams, it's not even the same financial tier. Brady then zoomed out and talked about how the NFL has evolved. Today, social media presence, branding, partnerships, and cultural reach matter just as much as on-field stats. And in those areas, Shedeur reportedly ranks near the top. When you combine revenue sharing, equity stakes, endorsements, and merchandise performance, calling him broke just doesn't align with reality. In my view, that's why Brady felt the need to step in. The reaction across the NFL community was immediate. Players reposted clips. Analysts began discussing the financial side publicly. And Cam went quiet. As I think about it, when someone like Brady, who built success both on and off the field, publicly corrects you, there's not much room to argue. But the bigger issue here, in my opinion, is the narrative around Shedeur since draft day. There's been constant questioning about talent, about system, about value. When those critiques didn't stick, attention shifted to draft position. Brady seemed to recognize that pattern and shut it down directly. Looking forward, as I see it, this moment might actually strengthen Shedeur's brand. It shows he has respect from legends. It shows his business awareness is recognized at the highest level. And most importantly, it proves that facts can speak louder than trash talk. Now the real question is perspective. Was Brady right to publicly address it, or should he have stayed out of it? Did Cam learn from it, or does he still believe draft order defines everything? And where does Shedeur go from here? Just a successful quarterback, or something even bigger over the next 5 years? As I think about it, this situation wasn't just about one comment. It was about understanding value in today's NFL. And in that conversation, Brady made sure his stance was clear.